why this project? Why Woodjam? Why was that the one that you decided to really focus on?
Yeah, very, very good question. Because we love copper.
Yeah.
So, we're super bullish on copper. I think we're going to see $20 per pound copper in the not too distant future. So with that in mind, and when we started Vizsla Silver, in fact, we called it Vizsla Resources, and we were on the hunt for copper.
Right.
And we staked some ground in central BC, the Blueberry properties. And that's how we started the company. Of course, we stumbled across Panuco, and that, we had to go and do that deal, and I'm glad we did. But, we've known about this Woodjam property for a long time. We've done a few other things in copper in BC. We took control of a company called Surge Copper.
Right.
We've seen some really interesting things on those properties. But we've known about this suite of properties and what Bill Morton and the team at Consolidated Woodjam were doing there for a long time. A lot of people have looked at it, and I think, a lot of people have wanted to get in there but haven't been able to do a deal. Goldfields previously were in there up to 2013, and they tell us that this was their number 2 or in the top 2 exploration targets or projects they had globally at that time. They then cut their exploration budgets back to 0 in 2013 and dropped the project.
Right.
The reason we love it, though, it's surrounded by some big projects. Mount Polly is just to the north of us. It's 10 kilometres to the north of the property. Some of that's very high grade. BC gets a bit of a bad rap for being low grade porphyry systems. But if you look at New Afton, there's about 100 million tonnes there, 1.1, 1.2% copper equivalent. So we know that there are high grades out there. Right. And on this property, there's porphyries everywhere. Everywhere that Bill drilled, they found a porphyry. I think there's 5 or 6 known porphyry centres there already. Big resource base. It was cheap, For $11 million, we bought nearly 2 billion pounds of copper, 1 million ounces of gold, although I think, a lot of the more recent drilling needs to be incorporated into a new resource model, and those numbers will grow pretty quickly. But the thing that really excited us most was, these high-grade intercepts that haven't been well understood, haven't been followed up much at all. And I think there's going to be a very, very good high-grade core somewhere hiding in there that we need to find. For example, some of the sort of higher-grade hits were of the order of 150 metres at 2.5 grams per tonne gold and 0.4% copper.
Yeah.
So, our job now, it's a deal, a typical sort of deal that I love to do, where the discovery's been made, that the endowment's there. It hasn't been fully drilled out, and the market just hasn't been aware of it.
Right.
So I love the property. Hence, I've sort of come out of semi-retirement to run the company.
Yeah. And you flew a mag. Yep. You're going to be flying Woodjam any day as soon as there's enough lightning around. Mm-hmm. And then you start drilling in like a month or so. You guys just raised 5 or 6 million. Literally today. Mm-hmm. And then, so what's your thinking once you go through this? Because I know you have a huge number of targets off the mag survey. Mm-hmm. Presumably the ZTEMs, maybe it generates some new ones, but presumably it's also going to help you rank the ones you already have. Yep. So you're not just randomly drilling stuff. What do you see as a game plan from here to year end? Say. Yeah,
good question. So I think for us, the next step. The obvious, as I say, we're kicking off this ZTEM survey. There's been over 120,000 metres drilled on the property, so it's taken quite a bit of time to go through the drill hole databases, pull out, what's important there, get an understanding of the geology, and work towards a more clearly defined exploration and targeting model. So that work's all going on in the background. ZTEM survey coming up, and then with the 6 million we raised, and you participated in that, and thank you for the support there. The next step is to kick off a drill program, probably about 8,000 metres late June. Although we only really went out to raise 4.5 million, and we've got subscriptions for well over 6 million now. So we'll take a bit more. That might allow us to do a little bit more drilling through, and we'll be drilling, very simply around some of those high grade zones, testing their veracity, and then looking to extend those. So I think we're a very good chance of getting some, really good numbers out of this initial campaign when we start getting assays back late July, August. And some of the budget, of those 103 targets, as you say, the Z10 will help us rank and prioritise each of the MAG targets. There is some outcropping alteration of mineralisation, and we've got soil geochem and a little bit of IP across the property as well. So there's a few different ways we'll rank and prioritise those. And I think, in this first campaign, we might test one or two of those other targets, but the low-hanging fruit for us right at the moment is to incorporate these high-grade intercepts into a resource base, and then drill around those high-grade zones and look to expand the high-grade zones. So really high-impact exploration coming up.
Well, I just wanted to, when you and I were on a Zoom call with Chris Leslie, just as I was going to say this an aside, but it's not really an aside. You both went into these. There's two things. One is it's the type of porphyry it is. The family of porphyries it falls into. You said, and you're right, a lot of the BC porphyries are kind of meh when it comes to grade.
Yep.
But there's 2 or 3 different types of porphyries, and I think a lot of the big wins in the last decade have actually been the other style of porphyry that BC maybe isn't known for, or sometimes people don't even think of them as porphyries. Like some of the stuff up in the Golden Triangle. Stuff like maybe Red Chris, where you got this calc-alkaline stuff where everybody's going like, oh yeah, no, it's just garden variety BC porphyry, which it was on top, but it wasn't once they got into it. And there's 3 or 4 other ones like that in the province. So that's part of what, won me over was Chris describing how, look, it's not that kind of porphyry, it's this kind of porphyry.
Yep.
But then you were talking about these, because I remember them drilling some, I remember Bill and the guys drilling some of these high-grade holes, and you're right, the market just kind of went, yeah, whatever. There was really no reaction to it. Partially because it just seemed like, well, yeah, they're drilling, but they're close to the center of this and close to the center of that. And, it doesn't look like there's anywhere to go.
Yep.
But you guys were describing this as these, similar to the North Parks camp in Australia, the mine there, which long-running, very successful mine. But what really made that thing work was these pencil porphyries. And you think what's going on at Woodjam might be what's happening there.
There's a lot of smoke to suggest that, because of course I think of the 6 or 7 targets that Bill and the team tested, that 4 or 5 resulted in a discovery of porphyry centres, discrete porphyry centres. The fact that we've got so many anomalies that look like they're associated with porphyry suggests that this was a big, very big porphyry district. A lot like North Parks. The rocks look very, very similar to us. They're these orange cyanitic porphyry rocks, very potassic, and gold rich as well. North Parks, I think there were over 40 porphyries discovered and delineated in that district, of which a handful, 2 or 3, are very, very high grade, 1.5% copper equivalent type numbers out of those. Rio Tinto, of course, sold that mine 6 or 7 years ago for about 800, 900 million. Big producer. This looks, based on, and you actually have the alkalic and calc-alkaline porphyries in the same district as well. So it's an interesting part of the Earth's crust. It suggests to me that that's a large, long-lived, centre of magmatism, which is what you need to generate sort of grade and metal. But yeah, you see both types of porphyries, but these pencil-like porphyries that are, we're inverting the mag, and you're starting to see that some of these targets drop out in the cross sections of the mag as well. Right. So yeah, I'm excited for those. What we do know is that there's a lot of tons of lower grade material, but certainly there is higher grade material in there. So the next step is to get out and find and expand those.
Yeah, because a few of those changes the economics completely, the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. Really strong technical team, strong marketing team too, for that matter. Visa Copper, VCU on the venture. Thanks for coming by, Craig. Can't wait to start seeing some of those drill holes.
Good on you, Eric. Thanks for the support.
Yeah.